Now, the rest of the story.
Well, it's not quite quitting time. I mean, we're getting there. We're less than an hour. Kind of got to compromise with the wife where if I quit at 7 o'clock, you know, days we're not in the field and the lens is dirty, she's less likely to get angry at me for not coming home. At least if she knows that's when I'm coming home. So the way the crops are going, well, I don't think we actually had any freeze last night, but we were pretty much in the 30s, low 40s the last 2 days during the day. And, you know, it's the end of May and we had to turn the furnace back on. The corn is growing. We get these 70, 80 degree days here. The stuff is probably going to jump a foot in a day. So here I am working on this, welding on this. I'm kind of waiting for my hand to cool off a little bit so I can do this other side. Top to bottom, should we talk everything I'm going to do to the cultivator quick? All right, if you guys are lucky, we'll go out and look at the cows when I'm done. So last year, this broke off. From here forward, it was rusted out and junk. My original plan, which is why everything is kind of loose on it yet, I was actually going to re-plumb it so the hose actually came out from the side so I could fill it out here and go that route. Only thing is, I'm really glad I didn't do that. Reason being, I could have tried to recess or, try to have it back in behind this tank, because to get in and out of my machine shed, the tanks pretty much rub on the doors or the frame on either side, so I kind of avoided a crisis there. So what I'm going to do is run it out the front again. I took the torch. I get really creative when you have fire to play with. Cut this out because it was a metal pipe that was through here, and simple enough, I put a big washer behind this outside fitting that was already pre-existing and tightened it down. I still have to put on the banjo valve, and I'm going to get a shut-off valve so I can shut it off and go that route. Only thing I don't like about this being here is it's a little tight. Not the end of the world because it is kind of protected, but then I do watch for getting any of that fertilizer onto the tractor rim. So I gotta do that. Finish up that. I gotta make a parts run. I don't know, maybe tomorrow. Gonna change out these wide shovels because they're a little bit wider than I want. I got the narrower ones, a bunch of them. I'm gonna replace on these. Other than that, I did a little bit of work to it before I put it away last year, before I just got frustrated with it. Just got tired of looking at it. I mean, it was August, early September, and I had better things to worry about. Got a couple new wheels on it. It's starting to get some wear and tear, some rust from what it's doing. Not much I can really do about that. I mean, I clean it off and winterize it every year, but once it gets to the point where it really starts to give me a headache, I'll go buy a new one. There isn't a whole lot of money actually tied up in this. The biggest thing that's probably going to catch me is the tanks. The mounts and all that, they're actually off of a 7200 John Deere planter. So I mean, they're not exactly brand new either, but they do what they need to do. What's all going on right here is I'm getting set up to do a third tank. I mentioned before about putting that 45-gallon tank that I had set up in the Gator at home, or at the Mule way back then. Well, I went and got it out of, the storage area I had it in. It's a 65-gallon tank. So it's only 5 gallons less than the 2 yellow ones. The 2 yellow ones full of fertilizer makes the front end light. For those of you that are going, why are you bothering doing this then? I only really need it for one farm. It's got grass really heavy on the outside edges. So what I'm going to do is mount that tank. And if that tank doesn't work, the stand that I'm putting in is still required. So I'm going to run a sprayer nozzle to the front of that row, that row, that row. So I'm going to have the outside rows as I'm going around the field, which are generally, you got row 1, 2, 3. So the sprayer that's in front of it is still going to get out over to here because I want to make sure that I do have good coverage from here or this row that way, because on the outside rounds, the 2 outside rows, the grass gets into, it stunts the corn, it affects yield. The way the prices are, I mean, why would I let that keep happening? I mean, it isn't an issue on soybeans because we spray for it and the beans really aren't affected, but it's the corn. The corn can't get tall enough with what we're spraying in season to do an effective job of knocking that grass back. So I'm taking matters into my own hands. Let's see here. Other than the tank issue, I'm probably just gonna go and that ATV sprayer that I've had since whenever. I'm probably just gonna go down, rob the pump off of that. I already got the boom. I'm gonna take the parts I need off of that to plumb this. I mean, I'm really going for low techie. Reason being is because that's tractor cab. This is the tank is gonna be somewhere in this approximate area. I'm already figuring I hate it. Visibility, 99% of it. Just because, unless I be proven wrong, if I can put spray in this, and then I won't put the fertilizer tanks on the ends full of spray, because this one will be full before I go to the farm. Hopefully 60 gallons will do it. And then what I'll do is I'll load up with what I need for fert, half tanks, whatever, and I'll do the outside rounds. I mean, I'll go through and I'll do all the outside rounds first, burn through my spray that I have, and then I'll be able to fill up my chemical tanks or my nitrogen fertilizer tanks. The only thing is I'm trying to set this up is it's solid. I mean, this one I just got, it's still very hot too. Wow. But this is really not all that bad. I can go through and torch the brackets back off if I want to, if it really annoys me. I mean, I can run it like this just fine. I can see the row if I take the tank off, because I'm just gonna strap the tank down with, not bungee straps, wow, just the small trailer straps. But if I find out that the tractor can handle it, I may end up re-pumping, clean this tank out, and re-plumbing this middle tank for fertilizer, because I can just tap in right here. I'll put a shut off on it if I need to, and then we'll be good to go. Probably put another check valve on it if this all comes to happen. I'll put another check valve in, because this is another thing that I'm really looking forward to how it works going forward, because you know, this is installed properly already, but it's just a simple, it's just a simple little gate in there, or flap. So when I go to shut it off or turn off the pump, or I go to fill it, it can't run back to the other tank, because that is really what it likes to do. Because the problem is that because the pump is on this side, it generally pulls out of this tank first, but then if you get going on the hills, this tank will actually end up filling up with fertilizer. So I should be all right. I should. As far as the welding goes, it's not anything spectacular. I mean, I know I'm not a professional welder by any means, but I know just enough to be dangerous. We got 8 minutes and 52 seconds. All right, for those of you that no longer have any interest about the cows, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Okay, for the rest of you that are still here, I sold some calves. I sold my heifers. Yes, that's right. I sold my heifers. I'm very much a hypocrite. Going back and forth saying I was going to keep them and I'm going to get rid of them. Oh, what should I do? I mean, I sold them. I'm glad I sold them. The reason I'm glad I sold them is because just looking at them, I knew I wasn't going to like them. I was going to resent them the whole time they were here. And then the first time any of them came back open, I would have used that as a perfectly good excuse to get rid of them. It's just the nature of the game. I didn't sell them all. Actually, she's one of them. We got this one right here, which they are getting 2 buckets of corn. I let the big girls back in. I shut the pasture up because The thistles are just about gone, but the cows have it pretty well grazed down to nothing, and there's new fence around that whole pasture except for this one stretch right here. And I don't know if we're going to get to it this year, just because, well, if I actually put it down on a calendar of everything that we have to do yet, not things that we want to do, but things we have to do yet, and you actually put it down on a calendar and realize we have to start being picky about what we do and do not want to do. You guys looking for an auger? These are both for sale, by the way. Between spraying for volunteer corn, I haven't done that yet. Shoot, I really should have went. I should be doing that right now. I can't. The reason I don't is because the beans were definitely affected by the weather last night, and I'd like them to kind of bounce back a little bit more, get some heat on them yet. But I'm going through with the gator, and I'll be spraying for volunteer corn. Not everything, but just we got areas that really need it. We got some areas where I'm just gonna spray the whole strip, and I got other areas where I won't even have to bother going. We do that. This field was pretty well flat behind the grain auger from, was it yesterday? What is today? Couldn't have been yesterday, 2 days ago. It was pretty well laid over. I went down to the valley. Over half of that was laying over flat, but it wasn't snapped down, or it was just literally just laid over. A lot of material here and down there and everywhere else. Probably gonna end up trying to cut this here. I probably could have cut tonight. Not going to, maybe tomorrow. So we got all of our hay to make. I have pastures that I have to spray yet because I had to clean out the tank and put this other mix in for spraying corn. So I have pastures I want to spray yet. There's pastures that Ryan wants to spray yet. We have side dressing, cultivating to do yet, which isn't going to be a huge amount of acres, but it's going to be enough, and it's going to be time consuming. And the thing is, when you get to spraying for volunteer corn, straddling the rows of the gator, you can only do that for so long. Same thing with cultivating. The corn, we get the warm weather and it starts to stretch. It is going to go from maybe we should go cultivate to these are perfect conditions to, man, why am I out here? In a matter of about 4 days. Maybe exaggerating a little bit, but there was a little while back, before we had that wet 4 or 5 years there, but there was a year there where I had 4 days of cultivating weather just because the corn jumped that much. So say hi to the cows. Oh, say hi to the bull. What's up, man? Believe it or not, everybody's pretty good. The heifers are kind of the turds. I mean, she's one. You guys all remember the tan one. She's got a horn though, so I got to run her through the chute, and that horn's getting removed. Everybody looks great. They're out of their winter coats. They've been on grass. Grass is a natural antibiotics or something. Grandpa always said that because the dairy cows always cleaned up awesome when you put them out on grass. Same thing with these guys. Thing is too, when cows have the option of green grass or pushing the fences as opposed to eating the hay that I'm feeding them, I still got like 2 loads more than, just a little over 2 loads of hay left from last year, and I refuse to let the stuff just sit and rot. It ain't gonna make it to next fall. I'm not gonna burn it. So guess what? These guys were designed to put that hay to use. That's part of the reason why I bought them. So I've said that before, and like with the camera, you guys can see why I kept the tan one. She's not red, she's not black. I would rather prefer a red herd, and I know I'm getting kind of wishy-washy. There was 20 beautiful red heifers on Craigslist the other day, but I'm not in a buying mood. I won't be. It's inputs right now. It's seed, fertilizer, fuel. The money spending, splurging has been done on me for a while. So nice frame, like back. You can see her legs. She's not always the first one of the bunk, but always fairly tame. She's always the one I could kind of scratch her head a little bit. we'll see what kind of calves she throws. I really do need to get a red bull around here and maybe do some culling. I haven't ran them through the chute. Alarm bells going off a little bit. I got 6 calves. Should have 15. Just how it is. It's not just us. I just talked to a guy that he's got over 150 head of cows, and they only have just over 1/3 of the calves that they should, and their calving window closes June 1st, unless they got a lot of really late cows. But the problem is they remove their bulls at specific times. So I really am thinking I need to go through. I never had a chance this winter to preg check them. I think I need to go through, preg check everybody, because here's the thing. These guys were with my brother's bull for XYZ amount of time last year. They were with my dad's bull for XYZ amount of time last year. So there's about an 8-month, that's right, an 8-month window that these cows could be due. Generally, I aim for putting them in with the bull June 1st to August 1st, just because I like the early season calves in the spring. That way, by the time the grass really starts to green up, the calves, these guys are right up to the bale feeder. The calves, the baby calves, are actually to the bale feeder before the adults are. So, I don't know. I like cattle. I mean, I like having the cows and all that stuff. It's just that I think we got off to a wrong foot. All the heifers, all the calves I have so far are heifers. The one that I tagged as a steer is a heifer. I don't know if I was in a rush, didn't take the time to really examine what was going on, but yeah, it's a heifer. So number 53, white 53. The white tags means it's a steer. Blue tags means that they're girls, they're heifers. Same thing with the cows. I go through and preg check everybody. There's Wingnut with a beautiful calf. I'll go ahead and say it. Even the cows, I run them through the chute, worm them and all that, preg check them. They'll be getting new tags. I should have done it this last winter, but at that point in time, it really didn't matter. I mean, even if they weren't bred, I was going to keep them. Worst case scenario, they aren't bred at all, the remaining ones. I mean, because Big Red over here, hi, Big Red, that red tag means she's a broken mouth cow. She's an old cow. You could tell me that she isn't bred, I'd believe you. I'd believe you. The problem is, I wasn't really planning on relying on the cows as a huge source of income right off the bat. So her one calf that I sold out of her, because I do know I sold her calf, it paid for her, and I still made some money off of it, so not out too much. If I sell the cow as a cull, still money ahead. So they aren't going to be here for forever. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. We actually have the fences around here now. I'll go through, probably pick and choose who or what I want to take down and put in down at my place, just because there's more feed down there, more pasture. This pasture can't support this many cows, and I'll go from there. So that's the cow update. People still like hearing about cows, which is just good. I like talking about cows. I've said anything online from 50 bred cows to what, 20, 25. Ideally, in the short term, if I could get to 25, I'd be pretty content for the time being, and then with the intentions of growing upwards 50 to 100 down the road. So if there is anything in our operation that is a weak link, I'm not saying necessarily a weak link, but we can improve it. The cattle operation, I really feel like we could be more efficient with them. We got soybeans coming up. See, the corn isn't brown. The beans, look better than some of my beans. These are at least standing. And one thing I'm noticing this year, which is nobody's really fault, but in the corn and beans too, you can see where the sprayers have driven. Compaction from the sprayers this year has been really bad. So these guys are really coming. But the ones that of mine that I was looking at, they're not, like, the leaves aren't really burnt, but like the plants, like look at this guy right here, they're kind of drooped over, not like flat in the ground, but it's just like, you know, dad gets home at the end of the day, at the end of the work week, and he just kind of slumps in his chair, and I'm tired. I think that's what the plants are doing. They're tired. They're tired of this weather. They're tired of cold weather. I mean, none of the leaves are black. None of the plants look like they're taking, well, any time off from growing. But it's just the wind we had. This is actually, that's like just noticing now, this is the first real calm day we've had in a while. And you can see from the wind, all the crops, they're just kind of heading that way. The sunshine, and they'll be out of it, but they're just going through that ugly phase. Now, last thing before I end this video, because we're already getting too long, we had a lot of rain. I don't know how many in particular as far as how many inches we had, but it rained all the way up till last night. Hasn't been super duper warm today, but that was mud, as you can see with the skid steer 3 hours ago. We're drying up already. So I'm a little concerned by the amount of moisture we actually put in the soil from the rain we got the other days. It was, what was it, 3 or 4 days. Then they're calling for no rain for over a week now. And yeah, they're saying rain for a week after that, but I have trust issues. So that's it for this video. Equipment is just gradually being put together and ready to be put to work. I probably should be working on a rake or something as opposed to the cultivator, but you got to pick your battles. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Take it easy. Keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.